Good afternoon, because I think we've moved on. We're getting into hatch time now. We're here in Livingston, Montana, and we're in a beautiful, absolutely gorgeous morning. We just did finish the beetle, and we just did a comparadon, and we're about to do a magnificent CDC, which is, of course, one of the most versatile. For those of you who je ne parle pas français, CDC stands for Cool de Conard, which means the feathers from the asshole. My brother Gary knows a joke, but they cannot tell on TV, YouTube. But it's a little too close to the asshole. The feathers are not as good as the feathers that are far from the asshole. But these are very important CDC feathers. So here are CDC, and the quality of CDC actually really is very, very important. So pick out your CDC carefully. Like these are very beautiful that I have, believe it or not, from New Zealand. My friend Boris plucked them from the ass of a duck. But look at the size of that plumage. That's a particularly beautiful CDC. So we have CDC feathers for this. We have, again, any color dubbing. We're going to do a pale morning dum. I actually, for the pale morning dums in the Paradise Valley, a lime color is probably a little bit better than the pale color. But you can mix it up because they do change from day to day. I love wood duck for the tail of this particular fly. I think that makes the best emerger type of tail. The wood duck?
Yeah.
Is from a wood duck.
Oh.
Please don't ask.
Please save the question and answer session to the end.
Okay, so a wood duck plumage. I mean, these wood duck, believe it or not, are from my dear friend Lee Perkins of Orvis, who shot this duck and sent them. This is fresh wood duck. So this duck is beautiful. Look at the plumage there, and that makes a beautiful tail. I'll make 10 tails. So you have plenty out. So you have your materials laid in front of you. A 16 hook is what we're going to use. Yellow thread, because it's a pale morning done. 8/0 uni thread is wonderful for this material. 8/0 when you're using for very fine stuff, and 6/0 when you're doing stuff like in Paradon. So you can put a little more pressure. So again, in this case, we're going to go right to the back of the fly. A fine scissor is, of course, important. I'm going to take my little plumage, and you don't need much. So I just cut a few feathers of CDC. It should be very, very fine. I twiddle it to get them looking pretty straight. So now the feathers are straight. This one I do, this wood duck, I have to hold like this. So I look at the length. I don't like a very long tail because these are emerger-like flies, CDC. So a pretty short tail. You do have to hold your thumbs properly on this to lay it flat, and then I just hold it. And remember I said in the last video, when you do it very loose, that puts the tail together. So it's a very fine tail, not much there. When you're going to do a body now, I'm going to go up. I start, whatever I dub from the front to the back and then back to the front, because that will give you a nice taper, because you're really giving a double layer of the thorax, which is the chest part of the fly. And when you do this, again, remember I mentioned that your dubbing should be about even. Don't try to correct the dubbing and correct the thickness of the fly. It should always be the same, and just correct it by the amount of layers you do. So you can make it a little longer, nice and fine. And don't forget, with yellow thread, it's really nice because it matches your dubbing. So even if you go over it a little bit. So I start, look, you can see that's about the right place where the wing is going to be. So I stack it up a little bit here, and now I go very quickly to the back because I want very fine, and then I come back to the front. And I can make it a little bit more, a little bit thicker in the thorax, right? And now if you have too much, you can always bring it down and throw it away. So now you're where you want to put your CDC wing. So the CDC wing, I usually like actually to take, depending on your thickness of your plumage, I take 4. So you should lay it out. I actually usually lay it out on my thigh. I'll do it against this background. And there's convex, concave. They do have a curve, the feathers. So you want to lay 2 down with the convex side up, and then I just match the other 2 and lay it on top. So you're getting 4 laid together. like a wing, like you were tying a streamer fly. So I have 4. That's a pretty thick CDC, but that's okay because we can trim anything on these flies. And you just hold it, and I want it to go to about the extent. Now I'm going to use this for a second and third fly if it's really good CDC, so I don't have to waste it. In fact, I usually like the second one better than the first because the stems are a little thicker. So I have this here, and again, I'm going to trim it so it doesn't matter. I hold, and I go up, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like that. I'm not afraid to give it a good shot, okay? And now I want to cut the tips. And here is where you need a fine scissor. That shouldn't happen, Gary. It's your vice, Gary.
It's not my vice.
You know, nothing more annoying when that happens with a lousy vice.
Poor workman complaining.
Oh, look what's happening now. God. I can't even unscrew the damn thing now, Gary. I need a hand. Can we cut this video, goddammit? Please, it's a relaxing activity, flight time, so don't take it that seriously. You know, sometimes, I mean, just because well, you know, I just want to show you that I am versatile, that Lee Wolf tied everything in his fingertips, by the way. Okay, so you save those 4, all right? So now, here we are. No, not many people can finish a fly like this. Okay, we'll put it back in. Gary, can you loosen this for me? Come on, the device is not working anymore.
Help him. Someone
help! Help! Please, Richie Lee. Ah, thank you very much. Now we can tighten it again. Hopefully it'll hold the hook. Jesus. Maybe we'll be able to get it this time. Okay, we got it. Now, take that CDC and don't be afraid to trim it. So just like that. I trim the top a little bit, trim it over. I'm looking at it and I just trim it, sort of make it a little curved. So there you have your CDC. Now when I have this in the front, I trim out those excess hairs. And I'm going to put a little bit of dubbing right in the front. Right in front, just to build it up. A little bit like that. I had that dubbing from before. And that's it. And then you just end the fly. Don't be afraid to pull it. Oh, use your finger a little bit to clean the eyes. And that's that. Voila. So that's a beautiful little CDC. It'll float like a cork. If there's anything on bottom, you trim the bottom, just like that. And you can always cut it as you want. Now remember I said, the next batch, you don't have to waste your CDC, because this batch is actually beautiful. So the same 4 feathers I'll be able to use for a second CDC without a problem. And in fact, see when the stems are a little thicker there, that's even a nicer part of the CDC to use. Some people cut away the tips and just use that part. So if I needed another one, see, here it would be. I'm ready to go for the second fly. So you have that ready to go. And that's a beautiful little fly. Here it is. So today's selection is a Spring Creek Melody. They each sing their beautiful little tune. You can catch anything you want in Paradise Valley with those 3 flies in June and July. Have a great day.